Anderson Paak is a 40-year-old music producer. He's a drummer. He's a rapper. You know, he pretty much runs the gamut of all a lot of the musical genres today. He's his name is very popular. His name is very popular in music circles as a producer. And I saw him on Drink Champs. I've been hearing his name for a long time, Anderson Paak, and I've been hearing it for a long time. And I saw him on Drink Champs, right, under Noriega. You know, Nori, he had him on there, and Anderson Paak looked one way on Drink Champs, right? He had his b-boy look to him, the Kango. He still sounded kind of nerdish and whatnot, but he came off like a regular dude and whatnot. He's smoking a joint. He's talking to Nori, chopping it up and everything. Very normal, very normal. That's all I got to say about him. And that's what I expected to see. A lot of these guys come in the music industry, and they come in and they got raw talent. Because from what I hear about this guy, he has a lot of talent and whatnot. But talent in Hollywood or in the music industry obviously don't mean nothing, because you got a lot of talented people there. But the people who want to make the money, get the recognition, get the access to streams and record sales and music sales and whatnot, they have to be a little bit more than talented. They have to be a little bit more, obviously. They got to be a little bit more than talented. They got to be a little more than just being able to make good music and sound good and whatnot. And unfortunately, that means a lot of these guys got to compromise their manhood. A lot of these guys got to compromise their manhood in the music industry and Hollywood, and just to attain some sort of real fame, and making real major money. And these people out there want you to engage. The people behind the scenes want you to engage in some sort of fun boy activity, some punk on punk activity that usually comes with the territory. Why? Because I heard so many of these stories to where, as you start to see that you hear something enough and you see something enough, it starts to take shape and it shows itself to be true. Which brings me to Anderson Paak in this other picture, right, where he's on Jennifer Hudson's show. Now, again, he started off, and I'm listening to the Noriega interview, he talking about how hard it was to, I guess, do his music and make a living, and, his family and whatnot and everything. He has a Korean woman, and, his children that have so-called black and Korean. So, he talked about, a little bit of all of that. But, when I came up on him later, he was on Jennifer Hudson's show. He was on Kiki Palmer's show. And dude went, he just totally flamed all the way out. Dude flamed all the way down the damn, rabbit hole. He went from Anderson Paak to Anderson Punk. He's just a real flaming, fun boy now. He looks like a real flaming fun boy sitting up there on Jennifer Hudson's show with his leg crossed and whatnot, smiling like, like a gay man. He became a homosexual. And I'm like, he had on this ridiculous looking wig on his head, like a perm wig or some nonsense on his head. I'm like, why is he doing that? Why is he sitting up here degrading himself like this? Why? And I said, oh, it's the music industry, it's the entertainment industry. It starts to demand that of certain black men, like how they did Donald Glover. Donald Glover from Atlanta, show Atlanta, they had him in pictures kissing, he was hugging one of his white co-stars, and the white co-star had his hand on Donald Glover ass, and then he starts showing up in these Hollywood events dressed in effeminate clothes. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what he has to do. He has to degrade himself. He has to degrade himself in Hollywood to keep getting budgets and whatnot to shoot shows like Atlanta. He has to degrade himself. Lenny Kravitz, they filmed him walking down the street with a full woman's dress on. This is years ago. I'll never forget this. I'm like, damn, they really make so-called black men. They really make you black men do this in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry. They really make you degrade yourself. They really make you degrade yourself with nonsense like this. Ad Wesley Snipes, he ain't escaping neither. Wesley Snipes was wearing some burgundy outfit with 2 earrings in his head. His head was bald. And the man looked like he had on some makeup or something. He looked real effeminate. You see. Very effeminate. D'Angelo, before he died, he was, you ever see D'Angelo interview, and he sits there with his, legs just like a man, spread apart like a man sitting with his legs spread apart like a man talking, and he's getting interviewed. Then as soon as like maybe a few years later, and this was after Prince died and whatnot, he passed on, and D'Angelo starts playing the guitar, and then he starts, acting weird too. He starts acting punkish. He's doing the interviews leg crossed, and he's sighing, and he's batting his eyes and doing all of this other stuff. And I'm like, what the, he got his leg crossed, he batting his eyes, he's sighing. I'm like, oh, no, them people must have got to him. Them people must have got to him like they got to Prince, like they got to Michael Jackson, because they made these guys get all effeminate and whatnot just so they can get their spot out there. And it seemed like Anderson Paak ain't no different. Dude literally went through the machine, he gonna get popular now. They're gonna make him popular. They're gonna push his music more and whatnot, because now he acting like a flaming queen. You see, when you act like a flaming queen, when you a so-called black man and you willing to outsource your masculinity, go to them parties in the Hollywood Hills and get flew up to New York and be the boy toy of some rich Caucasian billionaire who got a lot of money, and he like young, strapping black punks. He likes that. So and it could be entertainers, whatever. They fly you up and send you up there, and you go up there and you do what you do, and you get your record deal, you get your money, you get your whatever you need to get done, as long as you fulfill the degenerate desires and sexual perversions of these, pale overseers of yours, these pale gatekeepers that make y'all do all that stuff. Y'all need to start acting like y'all don't do that stuff. Y'all need to stop acting like y'all don't get down with the get down. You very super popular entertainers, who getting the big money, actors, musicians, artists of any sort. They're going to make you degrade yourself in some kind of way, because like I said before, they had Eddie Griffin, the comedian Eddie Griffin, said that he was in a meeting with one of these agents or whatever, and the guy asked him, how big do you want to be in Hollywood? And when he said that, he opened up his legs and he had no pants on. He had a erect penis. He's sitting there with his dick hard. He going to ask another man that. So and Eddie Griffin said he walked out, So how many people stayed at the meeting? How many people was willing to degrade themselves and give over their manhood, if not by bending over and grabbing your ankles or hitting your knees on the pavement at one of these weird mansion parties, or getting involved in some sort of degenerate behavior with them and crossing that line? If whether you did that or you was willing to just put on a dress, because usually they ain't gonna stop at the dress when they see you need them. It's usually gonna start off with a dress, and next thing you know, you're gonna be invited to a party, and you better show up, or go to somebody's house who got billions of dollars that can green light your music projects or whatever you want to do, or green light an acting gig you want Paul Mooney was the original knee hitter. Paul Mooney originally, his knees was always hitting the ground, to get on. There's a lot of them people like that. Richard Pryor too, all a bunch of degenerates. But that's it. Out.